Alright, hello gamers, Muckluck here, and we are back with another episode of me trying various DPS to see if the grass is greener on the other side, how easy is it to learn, would I recommend it to other people, stuff like that. And today, we are with everybody's favorite flavor of the month class, the Condition Damage Virtuoso. Now I started off using Guild Jen's guide to learning this, and I got a dash of information to Snowcrows when I needed additional info, and then Loranity rated me on Twitch while I was doing this live, and she got really mad at me for not using her guide. I didn't even know she had one. So then she sent me this, and as you can see,
we can talk about the advanced stuff.
It's absolutely full of useful information. So after watching that, we have decided to go in here and try this out. Now I'm going to try to replicate for you what I have learned after going through all of this. So we're going to use the elite skill, we're going to F2, we're going to do 2, 3, we're going to do the F1, we're going to use the 5, we're going to use the heal to recharge the 5, we're going to do the F5, we're going to use the 5 again, we're going to do F1, weapon swap 5, we're going to do F1 again, use the 3 skill, use the F2, and we're going to use one of the signets to recharge all of our shatters, whatever they're called, blade songs, I think. Going to do that, and this, and the 2 and 3 and F1. All right, weapon swap 5 and 3 and F1, and use our heal skill to recharge our 5 key. Use F2, use the 5 again, and F1, and use the 3, and we're out of everything else at F3. All right, what are we at? 33k. We're at 33k DPS. And yeah, I'm so used to being like 33k, and I kept up quickness, but no, this class is greedy. It doesn't keep up any boons. All right, so 33k. On my best attempt, I think doing that rotation while not narrating it, I think I got to 35 or 36. But we did 33k right there, so you can see that I got there. Now, what are the things I have to say about this class? Other than this move, I'm pretty sure every single move in this kit is like 1200 range, which is absolutely insane. So you can do virtually, well, I didn't mean to click that right there, but you can do virtually all of the moves in this build from really far away. It's pretty crazy. Like, there's no moment when you're running all over the room, you know, gotta drop off where it circles or whatever. If the boss is able to be attacked, you can attack it. It's in your range. So the range on this class is absolutely stupid. And again, it's like every single skill is 1200, except for this one that makes a blender right around you, which is honestly a low priority skill. You have the rotation. How easy is it to learn the rotation? It wasn't bad. Laura's video, I memed on it, but it was actually pretty solid. She talked about how you will use, you know, the 5 skill before and after every weapon swap. So you might use like 5, weapon swap, use 5 again, except when you're in this setup, the cooldown of this is too long. So like if I do the 5 here, I will actually use the heal to reset the 5, shatter, and then do the 5 again, and then weapon swap. So this one, just do it before and after every weapon swap. The other one, use it, and then use the heal skill, use it again. So effectively, both of them, you're using twice per weapon swap. 2 and the 3, you mash them anytime they're up. Anytime the pink pips get to max, you use a shatter. F2 is your top priority one. It does the most damage. If your pink pips fill again, then you use either the F1 or the F5, which is the one that does the blender around you. And if all of them, the F1, the F2, and the F5 are on cooldown, you can use Signet of Illusions to bring them back off cooldown. If your, like I said, a Signet of the Ether is for resetting the cooldown of this. Signet of Illusions is for resetting the cooldown of your F1, F2, and F5 if those are locked out. Your F3 is a massive CC. I say massive. If you've got all of these stocked, your F3 is a CC based on how many pips you have when you use it, and that just does a big daze. Your F4 is a self-invulnerability for a few seconds based on how many pips you have. So you can use that to avoid having to dodge a mechanic and just greed for DPS or something like that. Your elite skill is just big damage when you use it. And as you can see there, it's shooting. It just does like shoots a bunch of knives and they all do bleeding. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. These 2 skills, you almost never press these. I just realized my maintenance skill had worn off. That might be why I did less damage on the test. These 2 skills, I was never pressing. This one does do 300 CC, but then you have 180 less condition damage for the next 45 seconds. So I was told to use that as like a last resort. If you needed CC during an encounter, your options are using the F3 shatter, using double tapping the 4, which becomes a pull, or double tapping the 4 for sword, which becomes a, like, you throw the sword. But basically double tapping the 4 on either weapon set was a CC, and using the 5 on either weapon set was before and after each change. And I liked that. It was much easier to remember as someone who had not played Virtuoso before, that like, under these conditions, use 5 no matter your weapon. Under these conditions, use the 4 no matter your weapon. Made it a lot easier to remember. Oh, I should have talked about the gear already. Let's go over to that. So we got the gear here. I ended up with kind of a mishmash because our goal is to get to 60% crit, because Fury gives this specific class 40% crit chance. So if you have 60 from gear, Fury will put you at 100. So I was using a mix of, what is it, Sinister and Rampagers in order to get that 60% crit. And then I've got Agony and Earth on these weapons, and Agony, so Agony, Earth, and then Earth again. So my offhand always has Earth, my main hand always has Agony. So that's what we're using for that. That's the build. All of the build websites agree that that's the build. There was no change there. They're not fighting over anything, and so that's that. Any other notes about it? So again, I was playing this as Condi. I was able to, within probably 10 to 20 minutes in the testing room, break like 33k, which is already more than any of the other builds. Like Reaper, after hours I did 33k, Dragon Hunter after like an hour I did 33k, Weaver 30k when the stars aligned. Virtuoso, I hit 35k on a couple of attempts, so I'm gonna put that there. Gear was Sinister Rampagers, but there was other ways to do it. It was Condi. Easy to learn. I would say easy to medium. It was somewhere between easy to medium. CC, I'd say good. No, like it's not just like amazing, because we could bring Moa Signet if we want amazing CC, sorry, but it's okay. Ranged or melee, ranged for miles. Intensity, I would say mid to high intensity. You're constantly hitting buttons. The amount of buttons you're pressing is very high on this. Is it fun? It's all right, and that's of course my opinion. That is a opinion-based column. Now you're doing actions down here so quickly, you're constantly pressing buttons. Like, because of that, and having to track these pips, and the fact that I don't have muscle memory for it, I was going through the strikes, because I tested this in daily strikes, just basically staring at this corner of the screen. I made a joke when I learned Chrono that I was doing a mini game down here, and it felt like I was playing a mobile game in the corner, and barely keeping track of what was going on around me. I felt that again with this build. Because I was extremely familiar with the strikes, I could look down here, and Bone Skinner's up here. Whenever I saw red, I just dodged left without even looking at him. And I was fine for like 90% of the fight, barring one mistake that I made. And the group saved me from that one mistake, but I was able to, do good damage on the fight and all that good stuff. But if it wasn't for the fact that I was extremely fluent on Bone Skinner, I probably would have done very, very poorly, because I was having to spend so much time staring down here. So if I were to play this more, I could absolutely use more practice. And that's just because, again, I didn't have like the memory to do it. The toolbox that it has in the default kit is kind of cool. It's got a good or better interrupts. It's got an invulnerability on demand. It's got incredible range. It does have a block if you are familiar, good with using that. You've got the curtain, which can give your group swiftness. You can also reactivate it to pull, which is very useful for some fights when you need to pull adds together. So it's got a decent kit just in the copy paste build. Now, if that's not good enough, you can, I don't know which one you'd swap out without consulting the masters, but you could swap some stuff out here if you needed to bring like feedback for a reflect bubble or something like that. But you do have a couple of things in here that are pretty good. Chat is saying Signet of Illusions. Okay, so I guess this one, if you needed to swap out a skill, is Signet of Illusions. So decent kit, decent alternative stuff, not too bad to pick up and play. Extremely powerful, right? Honestly, probably too much. Probably too much. I'm surprised that they have not announced a nerf for this in June. This is insane damage with almost nothing requiring you to be in melee range. 1200 range, insane damage machine gun. And it's not even that fragile either. It's 18k health, 5k more than like an elementalist. It's got an invulnerability and a block if you know how to use it. Like, I could totally see why the people doing like Sarah CM are just stacking this. It got buffed. Power. Virtuoso is getting buffed. This is Condi Vert. The Condi Vert is the one that I was playing, that everybody's playing right now. So I would say after trying many of the other builds, this feels a little broken, and I'm not even like insane at it. Like, I have a very like basic understanding of it, and I'm able to pull higher DPS on this than anything else I've played in the last month. With all those I tried videos, this is the highest I've gotten so far, and I've been playing it for an hour. So it's incredibly good at what it does, which is riddle you with bullet holes, essentially, or knife holes, from, you know, a mile away. It's 1,200 range away. So yeah, that's about it. Not too bad to gear. Not too bad to learn and play if you're interested in doing that. Loranity, as mentioned, has a guide that explains it from the view of someone who's played it for far longer than I have. If you're interested, I'll put a link to that down below. But overall, it was totally fine. Not too bad, not too stressful. If you're looking for something to learn to play that's a little busted, that'll let you feel like very powerful in your groups, and also is not too complicated, this might be the class for you. Yeah, not really sure if I have anything else to add to it. That's about it. If you've got any questions, problems, thoughts, concerns, or input on how I did this wrong, please put it in the comment section down below, and I'll fight you there.